Namanda, 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 Namanda. Well, good morning. Thank you very much for coming. Welcome to our 2022 Kangi-e Gathering of Joy Obon service. We're very, very happy to be doing this service. It's our first in-person Obon service in 3 years. The last time we did this was 2019. So kind of hard to believe, but also very happy to be doing the service in person. So we'd like to begin with Sutra chanting. And so we'll chant Juseige, and is on the white piece of paper there. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Gagon chosegan hishimu jodo shigan fumanzok seifu joshogak gao muryoko Fui dai seshu, fusai shobingu, seifu joshogak, gashi jobutsudo, myosho chojippo, Kukyo mi shomon Seifu joshogak Ryokujin shonen Joe shubongyo Shigumu jodo Isho tenin shi Jinniki endai ko Fushomu saido Shoujo sankumyo Kosai shuyakunam Kai chiegem meshi konmoan hei sokusho akudo tsudatsu zen shumon koso jomanzok Iyoro jippo Nichigatsu shujuki Tenko onpugen Ishukai hozo Koseku dokuho 上大集中説法ししく供養一切仏具足種特本元年出上満得意三害を如仏無下地津脱未不詳願学エリク投資最小尊志願や国家大戦を感動国書天人東鎮妙見ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏願にしく読平等性際道本も大心往生安楽南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏。Okay, next let's sing Gatha. Obon, Obon, it's festival day. It's on the back of your program. Obon, Obon, it's festival day. We will gather friends all along the way and bring fruits and vegetables for the shrine. Like Moralana many, many years ago. Obon, Obon, it's festival day. All our humble thanks we will here convey to our dearly loved ones who lived in the past. With Nembutsu, Nembutsu upon our lips. Obon, Obon, it's festival day. Oh, the streets are lined with our lanterns gay, and the wind bells twinkling atop the trees. Sway to and fro in the breeze. Obon, Obon, it's festival day. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo. Okay. Next, I would like to deliver the Dharma message. So thank you once again, everyone, for coming, for those who are able to be here for our first Obon Kangi-e service in 3 years in person. We have been doing them online for the past couple years, and some people are still online. So hello to you. Thank you for joining us or for watching this later. I was standing out in we have this little area that the ministers wait in while the bell is being rung, right? And it's kind of like a porch. When you drive in the drive-in, you look up, there's a porch on the church building. That's where we wait, on this little porch thing. And there's a mirror. So of course, you gotta check the tie, right? Make sure the robes are straight, check your hair. And then this morning I was looking and I was like, there's more white hairs. I don't know if it was the sun, right? But I just noticed, right? I think there's a few more white hairs than I noticed before. Probably the light in my bathroom is not so great. And so I was seeing, for real. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Impermanence, change, right? That this is part of life, right? The changes that we go through. I think a lot of times we take things for granted that, oh yeah, whatever, right? I'll just go to church this Sunday. And then this past 2 years, right, was really, really a big change, right? And really, and I've talked about it throughout the pandemic. And, if we can find a positive side of it, it's to realize how much I take for granted. Right? And to realize, wow, that things don't always go the way we want. That's one phrase from Reverend Yamaoka that sticks in my mind that I remember hearing when I was a student over 20 years ago. Things don't always go the way we want. I kind of woke up in the middle of the night and was just kind of thinking about that. I think that in our modern American society, we don't want to think about the bad stuff. Don't be negative, just be positive. Have positive thoughts, right? I think there's almost kind of a movement of that, right? To focus on the positive. And I think that there's good aspects of that, because if we get too stuck in the negative, it's easy to get stuck, right, with negative thoughts and always seeing things from a negative point of view. So that's not what we want to do. And yet, it's important to know that fundamental teaching of Buddhism, that life is suffering. Right? It's something that maybe some people don't want to hear, and I get it. And it's not the whole picture. Right? But to realize that, I think, is important. It needs to be in balance, right? If we just go, life is suffering, that's it, that's not right. Because that's only the first of 4 truths, right? It's like the story doesn't end there. And yet, this acknowledgement of suffering, right? This acknowledgement of the difficulty of life. This recognition that things don't always go the way we want, right? I think is an important part of Buddhism. Now, our Obon service, I've been doing service here since 2009. So I had 10 years, and then we had a pandemic, but, it's been, 13, 14 years since I've been here. And I did my internship here, too. So I'm used to the separation of the Hatsubon service and this Obon service. Right? Here at Oakland, because in the before times, there were so many people generally, and this is no different this year, right, that we needed to separate them because just the Hatsubon families took up the entire Hondo, right? That's kind of traditional here at Oakland, and so that's why they're separated, That's why we're doing just Obon Kangi-e service, and the Hatsubon service was earlier. Right? And yet, I realized today it was kind of nice. We had some people who came in person, and they came in, and I realized, whoa, they were probably friends of some of these people. Right? That, as much as the Hatsubon service is for the families of the people that have passed away, it's also for all of us. Right? And I know that many of you knew some of the people that are honored here at the front of our Hondo, and I'm going to put that on here. Right? That here in front, we have these lanterns, and they're flickering beautifully. Right? And maybe that captures part of the feeling. Right, that we see this beautiful flickering of the candles, right? These wonderful people that we knew, and yet also realizing these are people we've lost. Right? And so that beauty, and yet part of it is hurt, right? Part of it is sadness, part of it is loss. One of the other phrases that popped into my mind in the middle of the night was from Takomaru Shigaraki, who was a professor and a minister, had deep impact on many BCA ministers and many people in general. And he has this kind of metaphor of the kaki, the persimmon, right? And how when you're drying it and you want to make the dried persimmon, right? That if you just eat it, it's bitter before it's done. Right? And yet, the end result is this sweetness. And so, I'm not telling the story well, but just that term, bittersweet, right, I think kind of resonates with me. Right? That this sadness that we feel, right, in one sense, I think there's almost kind of a resignation, right? That we accept, we realize, whoa, this is part of life. Shikata ga nai, shouga nai, right? These Japanese expressions of there's nothing to be done. You just kind of have to accept it. I think gaman is part of that too, right? But more the term shouga nai, shikata ga nai, right? That we have this loss, and in one sense, there's nothing to be done in that kind of bitterness. Right? But that's not all that there is, right? It's bittersweet. And it's sweet because of the love that we received, right? It's these how much we received during their life, the deep impact that they had on us, right? And so all those feelings are combined, right? And it can be confusing, especially if it's someone really close, right? I think it can be this kind of confusion of feelings, right? Because we feel sad. And yet, we can think about them and laugh, right? Or we can think about wonderful things that happened, right? All these different memories, jumble of emotions. And so, whether it's Hatsubon or just isn't that kind of life from a Buddhist perspective maybe, right? Realizing that all these different feelings, all these different experiences that we have. Without Buddhism, without hearing the teachings, I'd be a mess. Wandering off in different directions, not sure which way to go, just kind of aimlessly wandering for years, for lifetimes maybe. But then we hear the teaching of the Buddha, we encounter a community, we hear Namo Amida Butsu, and realize, oh my gosh, this is life. Right? And yet, no longer aimless, no longer purely in ignorance. Right? We realize, wow, the deep impact that these people had on us. Right? We realize, oh my gosh, it's not just about me. That's me anyway, right? Maybe I don't always realize it, right? But very often get stuck in my head, just kind of stuck in what's going on. And maybe that's what's so special about Sangha, right? About being able to come and be in person, and they're not just images on a screen, not just ideas that a disembodied voice on the phone, or right, to actually be able to be in touch with someone is really, really special, right? And that helps remind me, oh yeah, it's not just about me. Realizing me because of them, because of my parents, because of people in my life, that they're part of who I am. And so that deep impact, realizing interconnectedness, right? Realizing that they're part of the call of the Buddha, part of wisdom and compassion, calling out to me. I said something in the Hatsubon service that someone said they liked, and so I'll say it again, right? And so we have this sadness. But I think in America, we think that sad and happy are opposites, right? And that somehow sad is bad. Right? I don't know if you feel that. I just feel like that's a message that we get a lot. If you're feeling sad, go shopping. You know? I mean, that's been a message for decades, right? There's even like a Flintstones episode. It's probably from the 60s, right? Where they're like, charge it. And they got the credit cards and Betty and Wilma, right? And they go off running because, you know, they're gonna, that'll make me feel good. Spend money, buy something. But Buddhism would be like, what? That's not the answer, right? That in one thing, don't engage in materialism to try and solve all your problems, but also that sad can be okay, right? And that sad, so this Kangi-e, gathering of joy, that joy is bigger than happy versus sad. So what I said is we think of happy and sad as two sides of the same coin, right? But this joy is the coin. It encompasses all of it, right? That the sadness and lust that we feel is part of this deep joy, right? The memories that spring into your mind, right? Whatever emotion they bring forth, it's part of this deep joy. And that kangi, joy, you know, maybe in English, joy maybe doesn't encompass all of it. It's also gratitude, right? It's also appreciation. And that feeling also comes from this relationship, right? When we reflect on the relationship with those who we've lost and realize, wow, you know, I received so much during their life. I still receive, still part of my life. That's what I really like, right? That death is an ending, but it's also a beginning of a new relationship. Right? And so that it really is, I mean, the metaphor we use, birth in the Pure Land. So most of the time we think, okay, what is the date of their death? I have date of birth, date of death on my, but it should say date of birth, date of birth. But it's date of birth of this life, and then date of birth in the Pure Land. Right? That their birth in the Pure Land is one part of it, and we can think of them as reunited with their loved ones, right? That the suffering of this life is gone, right? And that they're in Amida Buddha's Pure Land. But the second part of that is that they've become Buddha. They're not just hanging out away from us somewhere, right? That actually they've been born in the Pure Land and become Buddha. So they're part of that wisdom and compassion calling out to us. Still part of our life, just in a different way than before. And so the other thing I said that from the previous service that I liked is that we're transformed through this experience, right? As difficult as their death can be, it's also transformative, right? And as part of this long life that we lead, going through so much, and yet this wisdom and compassion calling out to us all the time, so that we're changed, right? In a good way, I hope, I think, right? As difficult as it can be, it changes me, right? So maybe that I'm no longer living life purely for myself or purely for material items or not sure why I'm living, right? But instead realizing, whoa, responding to this wisdom and compassion, right? Rather than wandering aimlessly, realizing, whoa, there's a path towards the Buddha, facing towards the Buddha, right? And they're guiding us, right? Them and all those who have gone before, right? Every month I read the Shotsuki names. If you think about it, it's pretty amazing, huh? This community, all of these families, right? And we think it's not only those where this is a special occasion for Hatsubon, but it's everyone, right? That all those people are part of this call of wisdom and compassion. And so normally we think of Namo Amida Butsu as something I say, but actually it's the call of the Buddha. It's the call of all the Buddhas saying, take refuge in Amida Buddha. Take refuge in Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. Right? That name is resounding throughout the universe. And when I truly hear that call, I mean, the sutras say it, that it's joy. It's this entrusting and joy. The Obon dance we had yesterday, right? This joyful entrusting and dancing and joy. It was cute. I didn't want to embarrass them, but the Hatsubon service, we got one family joined really late, and they no connection to the temple, but they saw it online. And so I'm emailing the person, at like 9 o'clock last night. Okay, you want to come? And oh, your grandmother passed away. Okay, I think you could come to Hatsubon. And 2 little girls came too, right? And she said, can my daughter wear yukata? Right, the kimono? And normally I think 30 years ago, I'd be like, no way, this is Hatsubon, you have to wear a black suit and tie or something, you have to dress dark. But I was like, no, that's fine, right? Because the yukata, right, and the dance, right, Obon, the bonodori, right, is this expression of joy, deep joy, and gratitude, right? And so I thought that was kind of neat to see the young girl wearing yukata for Hatsubon, for her, I'm not sure, grandmother or maybe even great-grandmother, right? But to me, it was totally appropriate. Right? This is just really special. Not just this service, but yesterday and the past few days, the past weeks and months preparing for the Obon festival, Obon dance, and our services today. It's not just one person, it's not just 10 people, it's so many people and the effort of so many. And that's another aspect of the appreciation that I feel, and I know we all do, right? To realize, wow, so much work went into this, right? And yet we got to work together. And that's what we really missed, right, during the pandemic too, was that opportunity to be together. It can be hard work, right? But fun too, as difficult as it can be, right? And so that's what a bigger theme for me, right? That this kind of blending of all these different things, right? As difficult as it can be, it's also wonderful. Bittersweet, right? Like the persimmon, right? And that this difficulty of life we accept, but that difficulty is also transformed by the wisdom and compassion of the Buddha. So I want to thank you all so much today for coming, for this whole past week, for joining us online. Everyone, really, really, really wonderful opportunity to be able to have this gathering of joy, this Kangi-e Obon service. So why don't we conclude the Dharma message with Kansho. Acknowledging the difficulties of life and the sadness of loss, embraced by the call of wisdom and compassion, we also experience great joy and gratitude. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Okay, why don't we sing Ondokusan II, the Gatha that's printed at the bottom of the first page. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. A couple quick announcements. We will be having service next week, our August Shotsuki Memorial and Adult Dharma service. That'll be both in person and online at 10 o'clock a.m. And then no more services for a little while, a few weeks. And then the second week of September, I think it's September 11th, the Sunday after Labor Day weekend is our traditional startup date. And so we'll be starting our Dharma school and Dharma family services again at that time. And once again, we're planning to do both in person and online. And so looking forward to that. There might still be some food downstairs, so please grab some after when we go downstairs. We got a little bit of leftovers from yesterday, and so please do that. For now, I'd like to call on Norman Yoshida, our president, for some words of appreciation.
There we go. Okay, let's see my notes here. It's very nice seeing all of you here, and thank you for attending the service today. I hope you all had a chance to attend yesterday's mini Obon event or participate with the bento sale. I want to thank everybody. I want to especially thank all the Sangha members and friends that came out and participated yesterday. On our account, we had probably over 70 dancers, so we had quite a few dancers, more than we expected, but hope you had a good time and you enjoyed the food. I especially want to thank all the Sangha members who came out over this last week and helped get the church ready and prepare all the wonderful food and to set up for Obon. It's a little bit different than our previous Obon efforts out on Jackson Street, so everything was new, and I think it came across really good. If you did miss it, it's on our YouTube channel, so you can re-watch the ceremony and the dancing on there. Finally, I'd like to thank Reverend Bridge for officiating the service and for the previous Hatsubon service and for his sermons. I'd also like to thank Reverend Michael for officiating the service, and of course Mr. Steve Terusaki here, we couldn't do without with his wonderful music. So thank you, Steve. I'd like to thank again all of you for attending and supporting the church. And the service, for the future, it's going to be on YouTube, so you can all watch it again. So thank you all again. Take care.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you very much, everyone. Why don't we conclude our service with Kansho? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, this will conclude our service. And you can check our website, BuddhistChurchofOakland.org, for updates.